quick, I figured I would talk to you guys if you get this notification. Probably be live for about 30 minutes on the Vegas UFO incident, and hopefully we can get a couple people on there. I wanted to explain kind of what I just recently did with the channel, with a couple of those videos I put out there and stuff, with that. So I wanted to, if you guys are on, to let you kind of know what's going on with it. Hopefully these notifications go out because this go live is not anything that I had anticipated doing, but I just figured I'd go ahead and go live. So I do see one person may have chimed on, they chimed off, one or two people. So I want to make sure that these notifications are going. I'm pretty sure they are. Like I said, this is an unanticipated go live, but I want to talk about the Vegas UFO incident, some information that I've actually seen on it. George Knapp went in and he actually did a quick report on it as well. And I decided that to take the videos down for a reason. So, what's going on? I'm Rick James. What's going on? So, good morning. You're from India. Okay. I don't want to butcher your name, but good morning from India. So, I appreciate you joining in. So some people have asked me why did I take the videos down. I have to do it on my other channel too, the RC channel. So there was some controversy with I think some of the videos that people were putting up about it. Um, Part of it is, and I'll just start from the beginning from what I know. I could be completely wrong. So we got a couple more people coming in. Like I said, this is kind of an unplanned go live. Um, AK Crazy Foods from Alaska just joined in. Try not to put my finger there. You guys are getting some close-ups of me. Tara from the Netherlands is going in. What's going on? So I appreciate you guys joining in. Smash that like button for me if you can. 80, Ryan from Illinois. We got Harley from Arizona. What's going on, buddy? So what's going on, Jimmy? Too. So we basically some of the information put out there from what I've seen could be maybe copyrighted material or could be restricted material, meaning that the videos that were put out there kind of show the people's backyard. And I think, and now we know the whole thing with the cop thing could be controversial too, but I think that some channels that were possibly probably putting that up kind of got a smack on the hand from YouTube about that. So I know that in some of my videos I did it as well, and there's kind of restrictions for YouTube, and YouTube's got bylaws for it, which is fine. So that's one of the reasons why I took mine down. Now, from what I just recently saw, and a user did send this over to me, George Knapp actually did a report on it. They're saying that that blue light was a meteor or a meteorite coming in on the Earth, and they saw it in a couple other states too before it hit, or we don't even know where it hit at. And there was another YouTuber that actually did two videos on it, and he showed that same kind of meteorite, that bluish, whitish, yellowish, green color, or whatever, and it was from 2001. So it's possible. Now, I'm not saying this is true, that what they saw and what the officer filmed on his body cam was an actual meteorite. So, oh, you joined in from Mars. Oh man, I need you to go over there and kick over that NASA rover since you're there on Mars, because they are not getting good footage up there. So Jimmy said, Night Guy just uploaded a video of the actual alien. I'll have to check that out because I think some people got smacked because of the door cam footage that they put out there, but I think the door cam footage was just from what somebody saw, and it wasn't from the actual alien being. They just said it looked like that. But I think that it may have been an invasion of privacy or some of that stuff. I don't know. I think they got some of their stuff, of course, from TikTok, which is what I was looking at a couple of things too, and that's what they put out there for that. So what's going on, Ricky? Yeah, and that's what I was gonna get to, Harley. I've never seen one that changed colors like that. And they said that the camera footage that made the loud boom and stuff was from I think 2 weeks prior or something. So it actually didn't happen that night, which I thought was interesting as well. That information actually got out with that. So I still am skeptical on the cops, and they were back there for I heard more than 10 minutes or something, and that footage wasn't revealed because we've all seen cops, we've all seen the news, We've all seen when they chased somebody into a neighborhood, and they went right in their backyard and they filmed everything for it. Why this was cut down, I don't know. I also heard that it could possibly be people are pushing this because they want to know why it came out May 1st. This happened May 1st and it's just now coming out. Now you guys know recently that David Gersh actually revealed some stuff last week. And I think it's News Nation was actually asked to take the interview down that they did. And if you guys don't know, David Gersh is somebody that was in the military and he worked on a UAP task force. And he has some confidential or non or classified information that he actually gave over to Congress. And people want to know why did he show it to the public? Well, if he showed it to the public, he'd be in jail right now, or he would be in trouble right now. That's the best way I can put it. So people said that that is being this whole Vegas UFO incident is kind of a distraction from that from him. Then you guys also know that Stephen Greer went live on Monday, I believe it was, with another disclosure project. He did one in I think early 2001 or two or three, and he just did another one. I think 20 to 22 years later, and he had a lot of people. He had about 6 to 8 people, and it's a very interesting thing. So if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out because he had several people. Of course, there were eyewitnesses, and they actually were able to have an artist go in and draw some of the stuff. So it's pretty interesting with that. And I see you guys are talking about a couple comments with this. Let me see what it says. Like, okay, I'm gonna check that out. So if you guys can go check out, let me look back at it's called Night God. I guess that's his channel. If you have a link, leave it in this chat so people can see it. Apparently he's got a picture of the alien being. I don't know how he got it though. So Jimmy, how did he get it? Did he do some video enhancements on it? I'm not gonna touch it too much anymore right now because it's still controversial. I'm waiting for some people to go in and do some more investigation on it. George Knapp did a good job of talking about what it possibly was a meteorite because they did see it in a couple of states, and we don't know where it crashed. And if it was a meteorite, where did it crash at? And then there was the whole thing about the circle that was in the yard. They said the circle, people went back to Google Earth and they looked at it, and the circle was there prior to that incident. So it wasn't a craft that landed in their yard. Now, that's not saying that those aliens didn't walk around somewhere, but that's just some of the information that's put out there with it. So, yeah, Valiant Thor, if it does happen on a larger scale, it's going to be interesting. I think that one good thing, regardless of whatever, whether people want to believe this or not, one good thing that's come about this incident is that people are going to be more aware of this, and I think that we're going to try to get better footage. I know some people were kind of discouraged because they didn't go back there, they didn't get good footage, and they were all over the place. I even saw someone said that the people back went back there and they reenacted it. I don't know. I don't think they would do that because if they called 911, it's a fictitious call, they'd be in trouble for that. So yeah, I read about that portal being opened up, John. Um, so I want to do some videos on a lot of this stuff. My only problem is getting the proper um, imagery, I guess, to put it out there, because a lot of stuff is copyrighted stuff. So you can't just take somebody's image and put out. You can kind of reference it, but there's still particular issues with doing that. There's been throughout time actually people opening up portals and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So who knows what's going on with that? There's a documentary I watched the other day, and they were looking at UFOs from a Christian point of view, which is pretty interesting. And I am going to start actually because I know I can do movie reviews and book reviews and reviews on people that have long documentaries. So I'll end up doing that at some point. So I think that'll be interesting for you guys to see. Not sure how he got it. So this is Jimmy still talking about the guy that has the footage of the alien. Just saw you just sent the link. Okay. Sometimes the links on my channels are disabled, so some people say that YouTube deleted it because a lot of people were coming on here, not saying that you guys were, but coming on my channel and they were trying to promote their channel, their work, and a lot of them had just a lot of bogus stuff. So, but I'll have to try to re-enable some of the links, but I'll definitely check that out when we get off of this in just a few minutes. So. Yeah, and that's another theory too. I am Rick James is that it could have been something that they shot at. Now we know that if it's something that they shot at, we know it'd be a lot of government officials, helicopters, and all this stuff around that area. Or that's how it's been done in the past. Maybe it's done differently. So And I know bro says, how many times have they lied about meteors in question? Yeah, that is true. I've seen YouTube videos, and that's true. What in the video I saw was somebody showed a video from 2001 that looked similar to the same, and then this particular one, that one was pretty bright. Um, I don't know that much about it, but if that meteor was that color, that had to be a pretty hot meteor. But going behold, I'm just saying my videos, I just went ahead and took them down because of some of that. I don't want to deal with if there's going to be issues with me putting some of that stuff up. I do have a Rumble account and I do have Instagram where I do put that stuff out there as well. If you guys want to see it, maybe do some YouTube shorts or something. But I started doing shorts. When I loaded them up, it actually was interesting. Started saying limited viewing, limited viewing. So they were restricting it, which is what some of these platforms like this do. They kind of restrict the stuff that you put out there and they kind of control it. Now, the news channels have it out there everywhere. I've seen several news channels put this information out there, but we all know that they can kind of control those news channels a little bit better. So Ricky says one thing that is not mentioned is that the family said they were praying and then they heard something screaming from the backyard. I didn't hear that story. I didn't hear that part. What's my take on the Grays in general? Well, as of recently, I am questioning um, what the Grays are because Dr. Stephen Greer mentioned again about the little small Grays, like the Bob, what we call Skinny Bob, being actual a robot. Now, that brings a lot of stuff to mind because there is the 1940s slash 50s video of Skinny Bob where they show the actual gray alien or Ebian as we're calling him sometimes, where they show him he's getting measured and he's in there, he's blinking and stuff, and they show the ones walking, and people were saying, hey, he looks like a puppet. Well, if they're robots, that would make sense why they move like that. If they weren't actual living beings, if they were some kind of robots or whatever answers they sent down, that would make total sense why those beings in that particular video move like that. And I'm trying to get a couple of notes together for that. I may just do a quick video or short on that, and it's just going to be controversy, but um, I think that that could be true. And then you got the reptilian looking, and I think they say there's some big insect looking ones that look like praying mantises and stuff. So I don't know. That's pretty interesting because I know in the 80s and 90s there were a lot of people that were getting abducted by aliens, and they were actually being shown like a hybrid like race. They had kind of big heads like the Greys did, but they had human like eyes. But their eyes were still a little bit bigger, but they weren't bigger like theirs. So until I can see one, that's kind of my take on it. But the newest thing is just that they are robotic beings. On Dr. Stephen Greer's documentary or his disclosure that he did a couple of days ago. If you guys check it out, it's pretty long. I'd say skip like the first 30 minutes, so somebody doesn't get into stuff until later on. There is somebody in there. I believe he said a craft landed and one of the beings came down. And he like kicked it and the side opened up and he saw a circus and they got a illustration of what he saw in there. So yeah, if there was a crash site, well, there must have been something out there, something that had crashed. So yeah, John, there's a couple of places, even in the government, that if you mention the name of Jesus, you can't even say that, and you can't even say certain things in there. How that ties into stuff. That's going to be pretty interesting in the time to come. So the recovery experts on this are NNSA, but did they recover anything? Oh, you're talking about from a 2010 incident. Okay, I'll look that up. I'll have to some of the stuff you guys put on. I can't actually go in and I'm doing this kind of on my cell phone because I want to just update you guys and talk to you for a few minutes with this. So yeah, it didn't seem like Angel was lying about what he was saying because if you look at the video that I put out before and he actually came out and went public, his demeanor is the same in that video as he is when he's talking and calling 911. So that could be interesting too. He did. He said he's had panic attacks and he's depressed. He's very a depressive type person. So you know. So John says the Greys are like drones. Yeah. Now I've heard that theory before, But Dr. Stephen Greer in his disclosure project on Monday, he had somebody talk about that, and they did an artist illustration of it. And he said that I can't remember who the guy was exactly, but he said when he kicked it on his side or something like that, or hit it on his side opened up, and it was like a circuitry board or something inside there. And I said, well, if that's true, that makes sense as far as the actual skinny Bob footage we got from the 40s and 50s, which is in black and white. Because people keep saying it looked like a puppet. That's fake. That's fake. The way it blinks is fake. That's got to be CGI. And to me, it would make more sense now, based on that video, that they might be robotic beings. We don't know. But you got to think about if we visited other planets, and I had a discussion with a friend earlier about that. Would we actually go down, or would we actually send drones down and robots down and stuff before we actually came down? Because we don't know if they're hostile or not. We don't know how their environment is. We don't know what's going on down there. So that may be something that we may do too. I don't know, but like I think before we went to the moon, we sent a drone or a probe up there first before we got to the moon. And some of the moon footage that we see is from that. So Matt said, I'm curious to hear you explain in your mind, you distinguish between what you believe to be fact and what you mean to be fiction. So Matt, if you can elaborate on that a little bit, like give me a topic or something, I could talk about that a little bit more. And I'm not sure if you're talking about just UFO stuff, phenomena stuff, or religious beliefs or what. But if you can elaborate on that, I'll definitely talk about that for a few minutes. So Freddie, if that's you who sent me some emails, I did get some on my Yahoo account. I've been pretty busy with stuff, and this Las Vegas stuff kind of took a lot of my time. But if you were the one, Freddie's actually captured some photos, and I'm gonna put it in the community page probably tonight or tomorrow morning, or do a quick video on it. They're kind of hard to see in a way because it's really dark outside, but he captured them at night. But I may just do a quick video and then zoom in on them. But he did capture several images. So, Freddie, I will get to those. Don't worry. I've just been busy with a lot of other things, but I will get to those. So, yeah, Jimmy says the one thing you disagree with Stephen Greer is all ETs are benevolent. Yeah. He's basically saying that thousands of abductees are all fooled. Yeah, how could they be abducted this amount of people? There's no way. Yeah. So there's a lot with that. I mean, until, and I said this is all theory, until he can actually until we see it for ourselves, it's still up in question. I mean, I know people have seen stuff, and I'm not going to deny what people have seen because I've seen stuff myself. But we haven't gotten close enough to any of these to kind of distinguish what it is, and we haven't seen them. So he said he's an actor. Hopefully that light didn't flash too much on there. Yep, androids. It could be. I mean, if you look at, and I'm gonna do probably a quick video on it. I'm just trying to find some images so that I won't get flagged or anything on. I could probably just show it and talk about it, and then give the rights back to the owner, like I do for several other videos, so they can go back and get the credit for it. But so Anthony, that I'm not sure which video you're talking about. I'm not sure if you're talking about the Skinny Bob video or not. People have analyzed it, and some people just said it was fake, or some people say if it's CGI, they did a good job of it. So it's still kind of up in the air, but knowing that those things could be androids or robots or whatever, some of the grays, that makes more sense in how they moved in that video. That's one thing I'm just saying. So did you see the News Nation video today about the UFO dogfight over the USA? Sorry, I got to go work in a couple of minutes. I did not. Did you guys hear about that? So apparently there was a News Nation, and News Nation may be the new UFO channel. I did subscribe to him. I didn't get any notifications, but he's saying there's a dogfight, over the U.S. with the UFO. So I have to check that out. So John said I had a dream about two grays. Then a week later, I found out there was something saw over the area that night. 1991. Oh, yeah. And it's kind of, I've always thought that if alien beings come to this planet, why always do it at night? Why always kind of sneak around? I mean, if we were going to a planet, I don't think we'd be sneaky about it. I don't think we'd be at night. I don't think we'd be abducting people. I don't think we would just go to, how did our government, if they did get in contact with them? and how do they know how to speak our language and stuff. So some people try to think about like the Star Trek directive of not interfering and all that, but that's kind of TV, and that's kind of I think what they try to program into us with that. But so John said he was 10 at the time when he had that dream of the two grays. All right, I think I just got to the bottom of the comments. In UFO books, authors also mention completely human-looking ETs that can walk among us. Yep, I've heard about that too. And like I said, it's so until some of this, I think that we're gonna get better information this year. It's already the middle of the year, um, and with it being in the middle of the year, look what we've gotten so far. We've gotten a couple whistleblowers come out, and we've gotten this recent incident that just came out within Vegas. We got somebody who's accredited in the military, David, come out to talk about stuff. So I think that towards the end of the year, we're actually going to get some stuff. I think that something's going to happen, whether something's going to come out. I mean, something's going to reveal more to this. I know a lot of people were telling me that they want this Vegas thing to be true and they need it, which I don't blame them. Some people have seen stuff in their lives and they want this to be true and they want to believe it, and I don't blame them for that. So these things maybe from the ocean also or in the deep ocean. Yeah, that could be a possibility. I mean, they could have survived the flood if you guys want to believe in that. And they could have been the lost Atlantean race because there are the USOs as well. And if they can define gravity, of course, water's not going to affect them. And there was a report I remember seeing on the History Channel where two guys they were in the Arctic, I think it was, and they were down there swimming or something like that. And they said they turned around, they saw these three beings like in the water, like looking at them, and it freaked them out. And I can't remember where you guys in the comments may know, but they did talk about that. And then they kind of drew a sketch of what they saw, and they were big, tall beings, and they had like of course, a glass whatever over their head, but he said they were just like they were tall. I think he said they were about 8 feet tall or something. But there were three of them in the water, and they saw them, and they kind of freaked them out. So possible in the water too. That could be possible too. So Matt, I didn't get your complete question. I know I might have missed it. So if you can copy and paste it again, I thought that I was waiting for you to ask me in general what it was. I did see it earlier. I did read it earlier, but if you can put that down there again, I have no problem with answering questions about certain things. So, oh, no problem, though. She's glad I'm optimistic. What's going on, Colleen? We're just starting this. I'll try not to stay live too long. I do want to try to get to Matt's question. He wants to ask a question about some stuff. So, yeah, NASA has a report due out in August. Me and a friend were actually watching the NASA live feed a couple of days. I think it was yesterday actually, and it looked so fake. I mean, the background kept fading in and out. We don't know if the astronaut was inside the space station or if he was outside. It just looked so fake, but we'll see what NASA puts out. Yeah, and Dr. Stephen Greer, he did mention about certain people are wanting to come out, but they're kind of afraid, which I can understand that too. Some people are still working in the military and they're still worried about things, even though they say they can come out and do it, but they still have families and stuff. So Ray says 2026. Well, hopefully we get some stuff in 2023. We may not live that long. Some of us may not. Artist says the Vietnam case, the possibilities are endless. Yeah, that was I think it was they called them mermaids, but that was over 20 years ago, I think, when that happened to us. So Matt says he wrote it again above. I wonder if it's getting flagged because I have not seen your question yet. I see your one there, and I'm gonna scroll up just a little bit, try to make sure this glare from this light over here doesn't mess stuff up too much. Yeah, that glare is kind of messing stuff up. Um, Hopefully it's not too bad. Oh, I don't see it. I saw when you said something earlier, Matt, but I don't see. Yeah, I hear where you say you'd be curious to hear you explain how, in your mind, you distinguish between what you believe to be fact or fiction. I guess that's the question right there that I may have missed. Maybe this is it. With all the UFO community rumors, etc., whistleblowers, how in your mind do you determine what you believe to be fact or fiction? What's your thought process? Okay. So, a lot of times, and it just depends. I want to, if, let's say, for instance, with this Las Vegas incident, um, how did I determine whether it's real or not? Well, I think with this one, I tried to listen to the person and kind of the way they came about it. And then when the footage came out, I had mentioned in the videos, I couldn't see what the people saw in the background. I think that some people may have made something from the images. And like I said, I'm not saying he did or I'm not saying he didn't. But with that one, for me, it was, I believe the 911 call just a little bit. And I believe the kid, Angel, in a way with that. But when some of the information started coming out, my question that made me question this more than anything else was, why did it take over a month for this information to come out? So with that one, that one's kind of controversy up in the air. But with some of the other stuff, like for instance, I believe Bob Lazar. Some people don't, which is fine. I'm not ever trying to convince somebody that Bob Lazar was right. But Bob has said the same story for so many years, and he was the first one to talk about Element 115. He was the first one to publicly go that I know of to talk about Area 51 and S4. So with that and with the information he gave out, and just looking at how he talked about it, and looking at, I think he took 3 lie detector tests in the 90s, and he passed them all. And he had some issues with, he was doing some stuff illegally, and he could have come clean and said, "Well, I lied about all this," but he didn't. He said, "Yeah, I worked here and I did this and that," and his story has not changed at all. He's got some slight variances now. Somebody did point out with Bob Lazar that he said in one interview how the technology or the crafts were given to us, and they came from a certain part of the solar system or a certain part of the galaxy. And then he said another time they were part of some archaeological find. Now, I told that person that they have to remember that Bob may have worked on what he called the sport model, but remember he saw a total of, I think it was 9 crafts total. So when he was talking about that, he could have been talking about some of the other craft that he saw that were all kinds of different shapes. Might have been part of an archaeological find that they dug in a mountain somewhere and they saw this craft there and they took it out. So with me, when I analyze Bob, and I've been following and listening to Bob's story for so many years, and I've been trying to find loopholes in it, I couldn't find it. And I always believe Bob because I've seen some of the craft before, and we've seen videos of them the way they fly, and it's starting to become more and more clear about the way those craft fly. How he said they don't fly like this; they fly kind of belly up. So with that, that's how I kind of analyze Bob. With the some of the other videos, I just kind of, sometimes you just kind of know in your gut feeling, and sometimes you could be wrong. So that's kind of how I analyze some of this stuff. And then, of course, I look at some of the facts out there too. I look to see kind of what people are putting out there. Like with this Vegas incident, I still couldn't see the aliens in the background. I just couldn't. I know that people enhanced it and they showed stuff and all that. When the people were walking out there, I actually took that video and I broke it down. I was zooming in and I couldn't see what the people were showing in the shadows. That's not saying that they're not there. Now, the one that was behind the fence, that's possibly that there was a creature back there because you did see kind of part of his eye. But I also thought to myself that as the lady moved forward, the camera could have moved and it could have got a different angle behind the fence to make it look like something was moving. So it's still up in the air with that. And if it was, that creature was actually squatted down pretty low. I mean, people were saying that it's a small creature and all that, but if you got an 8 to 10 foot tall creature, we don't know how their bodies function. So he could have squatted down that low and just looked through there to see the people. So it did kind of look like something was through there, but I just have to look at it more. That's from that whole video and that whole scenario. I do believe more in that there was an alien or something behind the fence that was kind of looking through and they moved up and walked away. I didn't see the fingers that the guy pointed out, but I did see what looked like there was kind of an eye looking through there. And when she walked forward, it kind of moved over to the right. Now, like I said, it could have been when she walked forward, the camera's catching at a different angle and didn't catch it behind it. But yeah, Harlow, you think, I mean, and a lot of people think that. I mean, if this universe is as big as they say it is, and I question that too. I'm like, how do you guys know how big the universe is? I mean, you searching out there and you don't see none of this stuff out here, but we're supposed to have craft all over the circling the earth all the time. You know, if you guys can go out there and see that, how come you can't see what's going on here? So, yeah, Freddie. I mean, Phil Schneider talked a lot about the grays, the tall grays, and the reptilians, some of them being here on Earth. And some of these beings could actually have been here for thousands of years. You know, they may have gotten a head start on technology. Maybe that's why some of them live under Earth. Hardy said the things he's seen in the way is man made. Yeah, that's possible too. Has anyone seen flashes in the night sky? I have. I'm not sure if you've seen, right? I've seen it, but I remember my camera caught a couple of things. I got some cameras around my place, and it has caught a couple of things. I think it was lightning. I went back and looked at them. My camera did catch something. Um, I don't know, about 2 months ago, and I tried to put the video on YouTube, but they wouldn't let me put it out there. I mean, no matter what I did, they wouldn't let me put it. Basically, the sun was shining, and there was a big shadow, and it was a big V-shaped shadow that cast down. It covered up like my house, the one that's next to me, and the two or three down there, and it was huge. And I thought about it being a bird, but I remember a couple of weeks ago, a bird actually flew over the same spot where the sun cast down. The shadow was, and the bird shadow was smaller. So I don't know what that was, but I tried to upload that video a couple of times to short, and YouTube wouldn't let me do it because I wanted to know if you guys had seen something like that, or if you were walking and all of a sudden this big shadow, V-shaped shadow, just cast over you, and you looked up and it was gone. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to some of these comments you guys have here. Yeah, I have to agree too. This issue is kind of hitting a boiling point. I think that with the news media actually covering it and kind of going back and forth. Now, no one has went out and ridiculed them that much that I've seen. So with that, I think that this topic is because I was going to get an oil change today, and go on behold on the TV they were talking about UFOs, you know, and they were talking about alien beings, and it's coming out a lot more. And I think what's happening is they're trying to desensitize us to being accepting to what's going to come in the next couple of years or less. So, and it's kind of happening everywhere. I almost flew to Vegas. One of my friends said, "Hey, you should fly to Vegas." So I thought about it, but then again, I thought about how many people are actually out there and bothering those people. I just wanted to circle the area, and I just wanted to go down to Vegas to see what's going on, to see who else was down there, maybe meet some other people with like mind that we could sit down and discuss and talk about this, and even get them on YouTube. So, Masters, I didn't become serious about this until I saw General Van Herk appear mildly shocked with whatever he saw in February in Alaska. Do you have a video link or anything to that, or some more information? So Ray's saying it's CG. I'm not sure if you're talking about the Vegas stuff or the Skinny Bob stuff. So, oh yeah, man. Every time they say it's balloons or something, we know something happened there. Yeah, and John, I just saw the eye too. I have to agree with you. I just saw that eye on there, so I do know that there was something back there. But my brain tried to tell me based off of how I've been programmed for TV that she was probably moving forward and the camera moved the angle and that's what it caught. But my senses were telling me no, there was something back behind that fence. Yeah, these craft are alive. I think I may have talked about this in a go live video. So years and years ago, I think it was in the early 70s, they had a craft and they couldn't figure out how the craft flew. When they went in the inside, I don't know if this is the sport model Bob worked on, but when they went on the inside, of course, it has no control panels. It was smooth everywhere, and they couldn't figure it out. And they brought in several engineers, and this engineer actually gave a report. He said they brought him in, and he looked at the craft. He said he touched it, and as he touched it, he said it turned like a bluish white color. And so he was just curious of the material. So he actually climbed on top of the craft, and he was up there looking around the craft. And then he said, I think he said it was a lieutenant general or something that came in. It wasn't a high, it wasn't a 4-star general. I think he said it was a 2-star general. So be my maybe a major general, but regardless, a general came, an officer came in and started yelling at him because he was standing on top of the craft, and he started yelling back at the officer. And as they were arguing back and forth, he got down off the craft, but as he touched it, he said it turned like a pinkish reddish color. And then he realized that that's how the craft operated. So it was like a symbiote or something like that. So I thought that that was interesting. He said he never told him because he figured he knew from that point that's how that craft operated. Now, where you touched inside the craft to get operating, I don't know. But I remember that story, and I can't remember who the technician was, but I know it was in the early 70s because he talked about that. And this was over 20 years ago, I think, or 15 years ago when I heard that. So, Colleen says, just hearing people out, listening to them, not making decisions, take responsibility to learn the math and the physics. Yeah, and Ben Rich mentioned that in the 90s, right? He said we finally got the equations right. They had something wrong in the equations, meaning more than one. Um, and according to Stephen Greer on his document or on his disclosure project on Monday, he said that we had, I think he said master. I think he should have used the word master, but we had mastered, I think, anti gravity technology in the 50s. And that's kind of how the ARVs came about, the alien reproduction vehicles, which I don't know, for some reason this year I've become obsessed with that, especially since the Wi-Fi's did a video on it. I think they call them alien reproduction vehicles. They call them flux liners, and I heard someone else call them RAM, RAM. Replicate alien machine is what somebody else called it. So there's three names for those type of vehicles, but it's the same vehicle. So what's going on, Amp Trooper One? I appreciate you being on me since I first started the UFO channel. Yeah, went from the RC over to here because there was some controversy. There were some people that were, when I did this on the RC channel, it started picking up a lot more. And I appreciate you guys that followed me from that channel over here and that stuck with me, everybody, throughout all this time. But there was some controversy with some YouTubers. They were debating on a Bob Lazar video. The Bob Lazar video where he had the Corvette, where he made it run on water or whatever, stuff like that. And people were arguing back and forth. Now that video I put out, I think it had a lot of views, and it had thousands of comments. I had to stop trying to follow because I couldn't keep up with it. And someone got upset because someone else is bullying him. Now I tried to on my comment section filter out cuss words and all that, but I can't moderate everything. I mean, I can't control everything that goes back and forth because I can't see everything. I tried to, but that video got so many views, it wasn't even funny. So there was an issue with that, and I mean, I just said, let me just start a separate channel. So that's kind of the history of me putting it here, and on the RC channel, I try to do it at least once a week there, and I try to do, of course, a lot more here. But long story short, I appreciate you following me from the RC channel over here and being here since I posted my first video on here. It's almost been a year. I think it'll be a year in August that I've had this channel started. So it's growing. It's actually getting better. Views are getting up. The view count was actually higher when I had those other videos. I just had to delete them because I didn't want to take a chance of getting slapped or anything with some of the content that was out there. But I'll probably revise it and talk about a couple of things probably within the next couple of days once this kind of clears up. So. Oh, I know, bro. It says right. Religious people are saying that it might be demons or fallen angels, which would be our, which yeah, because the kid's name was Angel. That's funny. Joe, I have thought about that. It's just putting the time in to get this stuff separated out. I know Rumble's a little bit more lenient, and I know that Instagram is too. And I mean, YouTube gets hit with a lot of stuff left and right, so that's why they're kind of strict on stuff. So I'm not faulting YouTube for some of the stuff they do. But I've thought about that. It's just the time and getting the team together to kind of put that together because then there would be no holds bars if I did something like that. Colleen says she don't think we're anywhere near close yet. We're closer than we were last year because that little thing Congress did last was a whole bunch of BS. That the little UAP, what they called the UAP they showed flying, that was nothing. I could have showed them better footage than that. Sam Trooper One says they saw five orange lights over a state road in India in March. A lot of people posted about it online. Hopefully, they got a video of it. Yeah, Discord chat. It's getting that up and being able to control it and fund it and all that stuff. I don't make like money off this channel. It makes a little bit whatever, but I don't do it just for the money of it. I do it because this is something I've always been interested in, and I've actually subsided back from my other channel a lot because it's not that that channel's bad. It just takes a lot of work to do RC car stuff. You got to get products in, you got to unbox them, you got to review it, you got to film it, you got to edit, you got to take it out, and it was just a lot. And some of the people from my other channel are kind of disappointed because I haven't been doing videos that much over there for RC car content. But I'll get back to it. So John says, "What if the Earth is flat?" Yeah, that's gonna be up for debate. Ray says, "Time to buy a home in Vegas." Yep. Skinny Bob is kind of creepy. So Jay says, "Bob Azar is our best first real life testimony of a government involvement," and I agree with you 100%. I mean, Jay, I believe Bob. I have since he first came out, and I still do to this day. He's just got too much knowledge in the short time he was there. He wasn't even there a year, but and he does regret actually coming out and doing what he did. He was 21, 22. So you imagine being 21 or 22 and having a job like that and trying to be all American. This is I can understand that, but he hasn't changed his story. He's been asked about certain things like Element 115 and he says no comment. And now in interviews, they don't even talk about it. So he probably tell them, don't talk to me about that because, he's said before he could say some stuff that would prove his story, but he's also trying to protect some of his other families. So Collins, the same impression on Vegas. That thing was no meteorite. Yeah, I looked at a news report and they said they saw that in a couple of states. So I'm waiting for an expert or a couple experts to get together to analyze it if they do. I appreciate that, Ohio. Kyle 513 says that my channel is the number one UFO channel. Keep up the awesome work. And that's why I took the other videos down because I didn't want to get flagged and go through that heartache of that because that would discourage me from moving forward. So, like I said, this is kind of an apology video too because I did take those videos down that I put up over the last couple of days. But I do have some stuff I'm gonna start putting up. I actually have some movie reviews I'm gonna start doing, like the movie Alien Code. I think that movie is just worth the Men in Black scene. Period. It really is. And I'll have to do a movie review and put some links to it. That movie is actually pretty cool. The Men in Black scene. So yeah, Laura, you probably do with the particular craft. So the Y Files, yeah, they be cracking me up. They've come a long way, and he's actually got it going. So that's good. So. Yeah, RAM was it's a new term to us, but it's been talked about since that Zero Point documentary came out. So some people don't say flux liner or alien reproduction vehicle, they say RAM. So, and it's in the Zero Point energy documentary that's out there where he talks about that. Yeah, so someone says it's crazy. They think the Vegas thing is real. I think that what was behind the fence was, I'm not sure about the other stuff they saw. I mean, somebody enhanced it and you saw like a shadow standing up, and that thing was tall. I mean, based on the size of the truck and the tractor, it was like standing, I believe it was taller than the truck, and it was right next, it was taller than the tractor. And it looked like the tree in the background. So, I mean, they could have had clothing on that cloaked them, that blended with the background. We don't know, but it was just interesting. So, he says hecklefish is a spirit animal. Yeah, I know. Bro says they reported the being looking like a hologram. Also reminds me of Project Bluebeam, and they could have been spiritual beings. I mean, you guys have seen Dr. Stephen Greer's video. He did Undisclosure, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and he was in contact with somebody. That's why I said he's got to be careful. And some of those beings he filmed were actually transparent. Yeah, I wish people would. I mean, hopefully they like the videos I put out and start sharing, especially some of the footage that I have out there. So, man, I can't say that dude's name. Was it pronounced Van Herrick? Speaking about the first February shoot down is nowhere to be found. Just the article is linked above. Okay, I'll have to go back because I know the links are disabled on the live chat. I made sure that because some people, like I said, they promote this out there. My Rumble channel, you can find it on any of my videos. It's not on this one because I went live, but any of my previous videos, you can find my Rumble channel there. And I do have videos out there. I mean, I have some videos out there, and I have some on Instagram. So I think it's UFO Conspiracies 01, or it might be just the number one, but that's also in the description as well. I probably need to start promoting it and telling you guys at the end of the videos because stuff that I can't put on YouTube, I do put on those other platforms. I stopped doing Rumble so much because I was I was kind of posting back and forth and it wasn't getting that many views, but I need to start getting back into it. So I appreciate that, Jay. He says my voice has to be on the radio. We'll call Coast to Coast and see if they put me on there, and then I have to listen to myself again. Yeah, Larvin, I have to agree about that. I love the technological aspect of it. I mean, to define gravity and the stuff that they can do just blows my mind. I mean, you can literally create a craft that can fly, that can define gravity and how it functions and how it moves back and forth. And that's one thing I loved about Bob. He's like, I don't care about the aliens. He didn't believe in them, but now that he went in there, he said something else created this. But he was more concerned and he was more fascinated by the technological aspect, which I am too. Now, guys, I do author books, and I thought about doing a book on UFO experiences and stuff, but it's going to take a lot to get that done. I've written 13 books so far, and I got three more, and they're children's books. And I thought about, because I got a really good artist too, um, and I may get with him on that. It may take me a little bit longer to get that out, but I thought about that of doing a book out there of some testimonies that are beyond what we currently know, other people's testimonies about it. But I did think about that, or at least starting to have him draw some stuff up for me, because that way, if he draws stuff up for me, it'll be my stuff, and it won't be anybody else's of eyewitness testimonies of what they saw. So the Don 3 says the Greys seem to be more menacing than not a direct threat. It's as if they are instructed to not interfere directly with humanity. Now, I think that, and you guys correct me in the comments real quick, and we're live long, a little bit longer than I thought we would be. Um, they said that some of the Greys, and it may have been the Greys, had a treaty with the United States government that they could do certain things, but they kind of couldn't intervene. They could abduct a certain amount of humans each year, and they could do certain things, but in exchange for that, they had to give them technological advancements. How true that is, I don't know. I know that in the movie Above Majestic, the first 20 minutes of that movie blew my mind because they talk about the Nazis and their advanced technology and how these 10 to 12 foot tall reptilian gray aliens were giving them these technological advances. And of course, they said the first interstellar craft were actually submarines, and they did that because they were modular in build, et cetera, et cetera, which would, in my opinion, explain some of the cigar-shaped UFOs. Which goes back to the question that Matt asked me about certain things. I think over time, and since I've been kind of interested in this for so long, certain pieces of the puzzle start to come together. Like when I saw the movie Above Magicians a couple of years ago, and they talked about the Germans and the first interstellar craft being submarines. Immediately, my mind clicked on some 1970 photos I saw of cigar-shaped UFOs, and I said, "Well, that's probably what these people were seeing." I think that was in. I saw a couple in the 60s, but I saw more in the 70s. So things like that, if you hear them over time, for me, first time you hear, you're like, well, it could be true, but you kind of keep it in your memory box, and then something else comes out to kind of confirm that. So Ohio says people call him a fake about 115, but he knew about it before it was on the periodic table. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know about it. I mean, I wasn't. My mind doesn't operate like that. So John wants to know: is everyone on board with the fact that there are other civilizations in the universe besides us? Yeah, was it Einstein or Tesla that put something out there that talked about that? If it is, it's great. If it wasn't, it kind of be a waste, something like that. I do believe if it's as big as they say it is, and I'm still trying to figure out how to calculate that. There has to be something else out there. Maybe they didn't mess up like we did down here. Okay, yeah, calling, email them over to me if you got some notes. You guys can always email me information. Sometimes I don't always get to it. Some people got upset with me before because they emailed me, but I just wasn't able to get to them. So, but I got to them later on. He's talking about District 9. I hope not. We do not want to go to that route. Yeah, they are sitting on technology that will change the world, but I think there'll be some friction too because stuff like free energy. So think about that if that came out now. Of course, it would be great because now we're not paying electric bills and stuff. But you also have to think about the jobs and stuff that people would lose. And it would affect the cash flow of a lot of things. I mean, not just people working for the electric company, but thinking about just a lot of things in general. I think that that's one thing that would hurt the economy if it came out. But I think we would adjust to it over time. So okay, trying to get to the bottom of these comments because I'm gonna have to get off of here in just a few minutes. Yo, Ricky, that school sighting, I am interested in. I mean, the kids are grown now. And when that incident happened, that was pretty interesting too. I still see that. I'm seeing that incident happen a lot more. So, yeah, John, we heard about one of the ETs trying to get inside the tractor and trying to start it. Um, Maybe they thought they could. Okay, man, I'm gonna have to look that up because I know you've mentioned it a couple of times. I'll go back and look that general up. The video was removed. He said it was an object, not a balloon. Not ruling out anything. Okay. Yo, Dr. Greer's got some good information, y'all, and I'm glad he's coming out and putting this stuff out here. So, some people are concerned because he is kind of looking older, but he's 67, I think he is. So, yeah, he probably was. Seeing people come out there with guns and stuff. So, John said, is Bob Lazar ship from ruin somewhere? I don't know if the sport model was. I think the sport model might have been given to them, but I think some of the other craft were may have been archaeological finds. I don't know. He didn't specify what was what. So, all right, get to the bottom of these comments real quick, because guys, I'm gonna have to leave up out of here in just a few minutes. Yeah, Dr. Greer is leaving the change, so that's gonna be good if he gets this stuff out. And this glare keeps getting worse and worse. I don't know why. So, guys, I do want to at least apologize to you about the Vegas UFO video. I did take those down just because I didn't want to get slapped around about any of that. But I will have an update. I will do some YouTube shorts on that. How about that? So I'll put that out there so you guys can see that. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'll put some videos up tomorrow for you guys to see. I'll have a couple of shorts probably trying to come out tonight because I think shorts are a little bit better when you can kind of put that out there for YouTube. So expect a couple of shorts tonight. I'll do that and see what you guys think about that. So as always, I do appreciate you guys watching, commenting, liking, disliking, sharing these videos and stuff. And I have a lot more coming for you guys. I'm gonna start doing some more movie reviews, documentary reviews, and then putting links to those because there's a lot of documentaries out there on YouTube. I think you guys should watch and see, and I want to get your opinion on those. So I may do longer videos, but not post them out, not post as much. Or it may be every Friday or Saturday night, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, I'll put out a longer video on some of this stuff and then go live after the video so that we can talk about the video a little more. Kind of like what the Wi-Fi's do. I like what the Wi-Fi's do with that, but we'll see how that works out. So, all right, I appreciate you guys out there. Stay safe. You can always contact me if I don't get back right away. Please don't get disappointed. I got a lot of stuff going on. So, y'all have a good night, okay?